Maybe it's just the fact that I'm getting older, but life truly seems to get busier every year. There's so much to do and so little time to get it all done, and some things just have to be put off until a later time. Our lives are filled with legitimate concerns that we wrestle with each day, often leaving little time for thinking of spiritual things. And friends, that's the problem. Because every person has a different set of obligations, it's difficult to place these concerns in any order of priority. God demands that we work with our hands in order to provide for ourselves and for the needs of others. Paul told Timothy that if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever, 1 Timothy 5 and verse 8. Then there is the duty of parents raising children, not only being sure that they have clean clothing and food to eat, but bringing them up in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. This is a serious job that we cannot put off until tomorrow. And most of us occasionally need a break from work to simply relax or get some kind of recreation to have fun. And all of these things take up our time, and somehow we must find time to give each of these items the time that is needed in order of importance. But one of the problems that develop is that we overreact to these legitimate concerns. Rather than trusting in God to keep His word, we begin to be anxious and worried about material things. We suddenly realize that we only have a few years left to work, to earn and provide for retirement. And we began to take the earning of money as our highest goal, becoming covetous to earn more and more to the detriment of our families or our spiritual lives. But we can also become so caught up in sports or in other hobbies that we never have time for family, for spiritual aspects. But what was a God-given responsibility and legitimate concern just became a problem, because we've learned not to set our priorities properly. This reminds me of an incident which Jesus came to the home of Mary and Martha, and while Mary sat at Jesus' feet listening, the text says that Martha was distracted with much serving, and she went up to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the serving alone? Then tell her to help me." But the Lord answered and said to her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and bothered about so many things, but only one thing is necessary. For Mary has chosen the good part, which shall not be taken away from her." Luke 10, verses 40 through 42. Now, was it wrong of Martha to want to serve Jesus a good meal in comfortable surroundings? Well, of course not. Many women do this with great regularity when guests come into their home. What better way to show hospitality than to open your home and provide the comforts of your house and your kitchen to your guests? Martha was doing a good thing, but what Mary was doing was even better. Somehow we must all learn to fulfill all of our areas of responsibility by putting each thing in its proper place of priority, because frankly, some things are just not as important as others. And many consistently set their work or their family obligation on a higher level than gathering with the saints to worship God. How many people have stayed home on Sunday morning because the weather was bad, but the same weather conditions or even worse could be taking place on Monday and it didn't keep them from going to work? How many have forbidden their children to watch any television or to go outside to play until their homework from school is done, but they think little of making them study their Bible lessons? How many let their children stay up late on Saturday night so they're just too tired to get up and go to worship on the Lord's Day? How many have moved their family hundreds of miles away to a new job only to discover after they moved there that there are no faithful Christians in that town? Are these the right priorities that we need to have? Well, friends, we need to remember that Jesus tells us that we are to seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. Now, God does not expect more from us than what we're able to do, but He does expect us to keep our priorities in line and put Jesus first in our life. Friends, we thank you for joining us for our program today. and have a blessed day.